What up, QC crew? King Day is in the mother building.
Run it up was up. Your bitch gon' not know when was up. Run that shit, we at all the show. Say that shit for your camera.
Warning. Everything said in this video and on this platform is strictly my opinion and all alleged. Here, we speak about hot topics on YouTube and other social media platforms for entertainment and conversational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. What it do, it is your homie King Day here in King's Corner, and I am back with another reaction video for you. So look, there was this story going around on TikTok about a girl explaining how her adoptive dad fell in love with her or admitted to being in love with her. Now, I'm not sure if she was a child when he said it or an adult. Either way, it's inappropriate. And I wanted to see what it was about. What better way to see what it was about than to see what it was about with you, right? All right, look, we're going to get into it. I ain't going to hold you. I never do. If you fuck with me like I fuck with you, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. We're going to get straight into this video. Let's get it. Let go.
I literally don't even know where to start, but I'm probably going to start with the most traumatic, which my adopted dad, that was the most traumatic. And get this, listen. Okay, so when he came over to my apartment to tell me that day. He rang me up and he called me and he's like, hey, can I come over and talk to you? And I was like, okay, sure. Had a gut feeling. Think that I'm crazy? Swear to God. Had a gut feeling. Get off the phone with him. I'm anticipating his arrival. I'm peeping through the blinds. I have this gut feeling. I'm sick to my stomach. Then I hear, I go sit down, hear the car door slam. Go look out the window, see him walking up. I know what the fuck he's gonna say. I know what he's going to say. And you're like, oh, Laura, how'd you know what he was gonna say? Because he did weird shit my entire life. And I gaslit myself into thinking that maybe it wasn't weird because I didn't have a dad, so I didn't know what that relationship was really like. Okay, so I lived on the second story. He had to walk up 2 flights of stairs, knocked on my door. I'm sweating. My anxiety, is so bad. I let him in. He sits down on one couch. Well, he's pacing a little bit, sits down on one couch. I'm sitting down on the other couch. And he's crying. And to think of, my adopted dad was born in the 60s. He was a country guy. He was you know how guys from the 60s are, how old dudes from the 60s are. So I think I maybe saw him cry once ever. So I thought he was having a mental breakdown and he couldn't even speak. And I was like, say it. I was like, just say it. Say what you're going to say. Almost coercing it out of him because I was afraid that he wasn't going to say it. And I wanted to know what he was going to fucking say. I really should have recorded it, but. So he says, Laura, I'm in love with you. Look at me dead in the eyes with tears rolling down his fucking face. Knowing me, literally, I'm gonna have to show a picture of me whenever I was 6 years old. But I was he's known me since I was as tall as my fucking knee. He's like, Laura, I'm in love with you. And I was like, oh, I love you too. And he's like, no, I mean, I'm in love with you. I would love to marry you.
Marry?
I'm telling you, I'm freaking the fuck out in here. But it is also giving me clarification on everything that has happened throughout my time knowing him since I was 6 years old. I blacked out after that. I fucking blacked the fuck out. I remember him asking me, because I lived 5 or 6 blocks away from my childhood home that I grew up in. Fuck. I remember him asking me to dinner because it was the weekend. They were a horrible family, but one thing that they generally did was Sunday dinners or whatever. So he asked me to dinner, and I'm sure I said yeah or something like that. And then he walked out of my house and I locked every fucking lock on that door, and I went into my fucking bedroom and I locked that door and I hid under my blankets and I fucking sobbed my eyes out. I was hyperventilating.
Can you imagine, right, being put in the system for whatever the reason is? I don't know her background, okay? Something unfortunate could have happened to her parents, or her parents could have given her up. Either way, right? And you get adopted at the age of 6, and you grow up with a person who is supposed to be your father figure, whether you accept them as that, love them as that, you know, or not. That's who they're supposed to be. The dad of the house is supposed to be the father figure. The mom of the house is supposed to be the mother figure. And you grow up and you're of a legal age. You're an adult. You met them when you were 6. You are a full-blown adult now. You have everything going for yourself. You're paying your own bills. You have your own house, your own car. And the person that raised you, now she wasn't small enough to have diapers changed or anything like that, but the person who is supposed to be your dad tells you, I am in love with you. You're in love with me? How could you be in love with her? And I believe we talked about age gap here on this channel, but thinking deeper than an age gap. This is a man that was born in his 60s. Think deeper than an age gap. This man watched her grow up. From the age of 6 to whenever he revealed that he was in love, he literally watched her grow up. And anything that you can watch grow, anything that you have watched grow, should be so far off the attraction meter. Like it shouldn't be no way this man is attracted to a person who he was supposed to be a father figure for, and watch them grow up from the age of 6. And not just throwing the age 6 out there. I don't care if she was 16 and he came out 10 years later and said, I'm in love with you when she turns 26. I don't care what age she is. You were her father figure and you watched her grow. You watched her in different stages of her life, and you come and tell her you're in love with her? How? How could you possibly be in freaking love with her? I don't even want to ask y'all how y'all feel about that. I don't even want to know. If you don't feel disgusted, go ahead and hit the unfollow button for me. If this does not rub you the wrong way, go ahead and hit the unfollow for me. And if you are somebody out there who have not been paying attention, and my videos been popping up on your For You page or on your home screen page, and you think you're subscribed, double check and make sure you are. Because if we're on the same level, I'm going to need you to hit that subscribe button for me. Because what the hell do you mean you are in love with me? You're supposed to be my father or father figure. I can't wrap my head around that one.
I was like freaking out. I was in there for over an hour before I was able to like do anything else than that. And I texted my sister. At the time I was married to a man. But anyway, I texted my ex-husband and I was like, you're not going to believe this. If you don't believe this, I'm going to fucking leave you because this is fucked up. So I texted him everything. And before I gave him a chance to even read it or respond, I was like, no, fuck this. I need to talk to somebody. So I call him and I tell him every single fucking detail. Mind you, my ex-husband was not a good man either. That's another story. Equally as traumatizing story. But anyway, I was on the phone with him and he was just like, he's like, Laura, you must be confused. Like, imagine a man sticking up for another fucked up man. But he's like, Laura, you have to be confused. There's got to be some. And he knows my history with these people and my adopted dad. But he's literally like, no, you're confused. There's no way. I hang up on him. I call the most important person in my world, which is my little sister. And I tell her, and she's freaking the fuck out too, because she has fucked up experiences. I literally don't even know where to start, but I'm probably going to start with the most traumatic, which my adopted dad, like, that was the most traumatic. Okay, so
Part 2.
Where did I leave off? Okay, so I had told my little sister, we had a long conversation about what we should do, because we assumed that if we told my adopted mom that she wouldn't believe us. We had told her about multiple incidences during our teenage years and childhood, and she didn't really believe us. One time she kind of did, but then she sat us down in the kitchen with them and she's like, this is what the girl said you did. are you doing this? He's saying no, that we're mistaken, that we're wrong, that it wasn't intentional, da-da-da-da. And that was like the end of it. But the fact that she set us down in a room with him, we were scared shitless. Like, it was hard for us to, like, muster up the courage to, like, talk about it with her, let alone, like, in front of him, you know? So, in the end, we settled on telling her, despite our reservations. We just didn't know how she was going to handle it. So, I called her and I let her know that I wanted to come over and talk to her, but I asked her if she would come to the back porch and be quiet. Like, our back porch was off our kitchen. It was like an indoor back. It's where our laundry room was, but a lot of important conversations were had out there. But so we get there, she is already waiting for us, and she's like, what do you guys want to talk about? And I just spill it. I'm like, this is what happened. He called me. I ran through everything that I literally just told you guys. And she acted shocked. She seemed shocked. And she was pretty upset by the information. She said that she didn't act like she didn't believe me, which is crazy because she didn't believe me for a second of my fucking life. Generally, she wasn't a very nice or kind woman, so I was fucking stunned that she did anyway. And she kept saying that she can't believe she didn't see the signs because she was a victim of child SA. She was, which is also not my story to tell, but and so she told us that she thought that we needed to leave, that she had to have a conversation with him, and they fought like crazy, like our whole childhood, and we just knew that it wasn't going to be good. So we excused ourselves. She said that she didn't act like she didn't believe me, which is crazy because she didn't believe me for a second of my fucking life. Generally, she wasn't a very nice or kind woman, so I was fucking stunned that she did anyway. And she kept saying that she can't believe she didn't see the signs because she was a victim of child SA. She was, which is also not my story to tell, but and so she told us that she thought that we needed to leave, that she had to have a conversation with him.
Did she double up on that video?
And they fought like crazy, like our whole childhood, and we just knew that it wasn't going to be good. So we excused ourselves. She ended up calling me the following day and saying that it's done. Like, she kicked him out, like, he's gone. And I'm like, where did he go? And she said, like, I don't fucking know, probably to Georgia, because that's where his family's from. He didn't actually have any family in the state that we lived in. All his brothers and sisters lived in a really small town in Georgia. So that's where he went to. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked by her doing that. She never, like, she did not protect us from anything our entire lives, no matter if we spoke up or not. And she actually was just as much of an abuser as he was. Like, the stories I have about her are just as crazy and just as wild. Honestly, I feel like I handled that whole situation really well, but like a week after it, I wasn't handling it very well. I was actually felt like I was like spiraling, and I was like full of anxiety, and I just wasn't doing good. So the phone calls that she was making to me, I wasn't answering. I wasn't answering the text messages, and she thought that she kept saying, are you blaming me? Do you blame me? Do you blame me? And yeah, I did. Like, she lived with that man, I don't know, 20, 30 years. She knew how fucking weird he was. She convinced him to shave our hair off my sophomore year, my little sister's senior year, to make us less attractive. less attractive to a grown man.
Wait. Okay. Wait. Because I'm thinking she was going to say, not that it's okay or anything, but I'm thinking that she was going to say less attractive to, the little boys at school. Or probably thinking like, oh, they're growing up, they're getting fast, they're feeling themselves, shave their head off so they don't be attractive. Which is not okay, which is abuse, in my opinion. But that's what I'm thinking she asked him to shave their head for. She wanted the dad to shave their head so that they're less attractive to him. So she already knew she was dealing with a cuckoo. She already knew she was dealing with someone that needed help. That's about the nicest way I can put it. Dealing with someone that needed help. And she still continued to deal with him. And instead of fixing his problem, she tried to get rid of the things that may tempt him. But little did she know she was creating trauma for the children that have already been through some shit. They're foster children. They've already been in the system. They already have issues of their own. So you decide to shave their head off. They have to deal with this stuff at school, if they have a job at work, just in the neighborhood, because you, as the mother figure, want to make them less attractive to your husband, who is supposed to be their father figure. And you are a victim of child SA. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't the fuck so. I'm going to save my comment to the end. I'm going to save it.
So back to what I was saying, I wasn't answering phone calls and texts. I think I went over there once, and I was there for a few hours, and the entire time we were talking about that situation, and I just didn't want to talk about it. So I just really wasn't talking to her that much. Well, when everything kind of settled back down, I have no perception of time, but I want to say 3-4 weeks later, I was ready to talk. I was ready to have a full-blown conversation. So, my sister and I called, and our phone number was disconnected. The number that we use for our Kroger and Speedway pin, it was disconnected, and it hadn't been since the 90s. So we were a little bit freaking out. We didn't know what was going on. So we got in the car, we drove 5 blocks from where I lived, and we saw a U-Haul. When we saw the U-Haul, we could only speculate what was going on, honestly. I literally didn't know what was going on. I thought, oh, maybe my adopted dad is coming back to get all of his things, since he left in such a hurry. So that's what was going on in our head. Drove back home. We drive back a week later, and the house was completely empty. No cars outside. There was a pole barn in the backyard that was packed to the brim of stuff, because they were practically hoarders. They literally never threw anything away. So it was stacked up to the ceiling. So the door was open, nothing inside. So we park, we get out, we're looking through the windows. It's spotless. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in there at all. So after a little digging on my adopted dad's siblings' Facebook, we found out that they packed up our entire childhood home, took my little brother and my nieces and nephews, who I helped raise, and they dipped out of the state that we were living in and took off 15 hours away. Bought a compound, and that's where they resided, and that's where they continue to reside. Not my adopted mom, because she passed away in July. But yeah, took my little brother that I also helped raise, and I haven't spoken to him again since I was 21. So back to what I was saying, I wasn't answering phone calls and texts. I think I went over.
That's the last part, y'all. So what it sounds like is he went to Georgia, got some space, cleared his mind. While the adoptive mom was trying to reach out to her, she was pretty much, saying she was ignoring her because she was okay in the beginning, but then she realized quickly that she is not okay. So she was trying to get her mind together. She was spiraling. Different things was happening in her life from that one conversation she had with her adoptive dad. And I'm thinking that maybe while the mother was trying to reach out to her and was not getting a response, was not getting, any support back. I'm not saying anybody deserved that, but I'm just trying to put myself where the mother was. She probably just felt like, I'm gonna go ahead and go back with my husband, or I'm gonna go ahead and make it right with my husband. Probably had conversations with him, probably couldn't follow up with her because she's not answering the phone, and everything just kind of went back to how it was. Now, why they up and move is sketchy because they've been in that house for so long. Like she said, it's her childhood house, so it's just like, it's not like they just moved there couple years back and it's just like, oh, it's not a fit for us, or we move all the time or anything like that. And they up and left, moved to another state. What she said, 15 hours away with her brother and her nieces and nephews. And not to say that boys are safe around this predator is what I'm going to call him, because any grown adult who lusts over a child, I don't care if it's a child of the same sex or opposite sex, baby, I don't put nothing past him. So not to even say that boys are safe in his presence, but he is with, like she said, some nieces. So I'm just praying that nothing crazy is going on. I hope that she was able to at least inform CPS or someone in the system. I don't know. Like, I just really wish she did something to extend help for the children still under his care, especially with the mom passing. So this came out earlier this month, so it's damn near a year since she's passed away. And the death of someone can really mess up someone's mental on a day-to-day basis, period. But then you have a sicko, a widowed sicko. I just hope that nothing crazy is going on in that house with her siblings, nieces, and nephews. She didn't, disclose how old they were, so I don't know how many more years anyone have under his care. And then nieces and nephews, where are their parents? Because that means that's other siblings of hers. Like, what's going on? I hope that the kids are not being harmed in any type of way. This man watched her grow up from the age of 6. He watched her grow up. And then at 21, I believe that's what she said. At 21, he comes out and says, I'm in love with you. It don't get no sicker than that.
Burn it up, was up. Your bitch gon' not know when was up. Run that shit, we had all the show. Say that shit for your camera.